Well, good morning everybody. This is dear Mama Sal on a very pretty Wednesday morning. It's 7 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which I believe will translate to about 44 in American. And I just had to laugh because Jerry and Tina sent me a note. Well, Jerry sent me a note from New Hampshire to say that they managed to beat our temperatures, that it was up in 73 American. And I thought that was really cute. And yes, you will be beating our temperatures as soon as the sun comes out. I understand that. I also know that when you guys are sweltering, we will still be in very delightfully mild summer weather. So this is the whole thing about British Columbia. You know, we don't do anything to extremes, and that's, I think it's very much the nature of those of us who live here as well. I think of it in terms of bipolar. You know? We don't go from extreme high temperatures to extreme low temperatures, and we don't go from extreme sunshine to extreme snow, as some people we know. So, and I think that is, I've never thought of bipolar weather before, but that amuses me this morning. Actually, as I drive, what's in front of me is clouds, sort of rain clouds, and you will notice I'm not wearing my raincoat, but luckily I have Carly's trusty umbrella with me in case of emergency. Carly, I bet you never thought that that umbrella was going to get you this much mileage. Well, I intend to take it traveling with me as well. In fact, I've got to find a name for the umbrella so that I can take her traveling with Pimper-roo. And for those of you who don't know, Pimper-roo is the delightful little koala bear that Aussie Pimp sent me from Australia, and it's just the cutest little thing. I'll try and put a quick picture of him in here. But he's going to be traveling with me. And I was just thinking, you know, where would I not want to go without Pimper-roo and the umbrella? Because they're both so cute. I will take a picture of the two of them together, perhaps. It's not that I'm a sentimental person, you understand. Ooh, there's a flying thing in my car. Out, flying thing. Don't know if I got it out or if it's still in. I don't like flying things in my car. Too many years in Africa where you never quite knew what the flying thing was. Anyway, so we are about to head into, definitely a flying thing is still here. Oh well, I'll try not to let it distract me too much. I was really struck last night. I put the picture up at the front of the vlog yesterday at the beautiful day that we had and the magnificent sunset that there was. And in fact, I knew it was going to be pretty. And so because of that, I actually drove to what we call Crescent Beach and had a meal there watching the sunset, which was beautiful. And then just as the sun was setting, I got some pictures for you because I thought you would love to see that. And it is funny because there is something about that watery sunset that delights me almost as much as the African sunset. And I, in my time, have seen some truly magnificent sunsets. And I guess I have to thank you guys again, because I've probably taken more pictures since I've been doing Dear Mama Sal than I would have done if I hadn't started Dear Mama Sal. So again, thanks to Benji and Judy for that. And it's just like yesterday, I truly appreciated I really truly appreciated the beauty of that sunset. I wanted to talk a little bit today about entitlement and grace. Over the last couple of weeks, I have watched a couple of situations in which people felt very entitled. They felt above the law, or in some case they felt they were the law, and that as such anything they did was okay. And that has been horrifying to watch in some cases, as I think all entitlements can be. But I also reflect back on that and go, how much of my life did I live believing I was entitled? Quite a bit, I think. I was entitled by virtue of my education, by virtue of my upbringing, by virtue of where I went to school. Yeah, I must have honestly say that I did feel some entitlement. And one of the delightful things I have learned about from being in North America and appreciate it is that entitlement really doesn't get you very far. And it normally equates with arrogant. So I am absolutely aware. I am absolutely aware of the fact that I was guilty of this, and maybe still am in some ways, of this entitlement issue. And I wonder if any of you relate to that. I don't like admitting that, but it is true. And the reason I talk about that is because every year I try and look at these different aspects of character. Oh, flying thing is still flying. I try to look at these different aspects of character and check in again. I realize that I'm probably never going to be a perfect person, and that's understandable. That's why I'm still on Earth, right? But every year I try and work through another layer of these issues. And so looking at them and admitting them is the first step, as we all know. And then in the last couple of weeks, I've seen some absolutely mind-blowing examples of people who have achieved grace. People who, in the sight and in the proximity of most horrendous acts, have been able to stand up and forgive the perpetrator. And to do so with absolute grace. I heard the verdict on the Hernandez case today. And for those of you who might not have heard it, he was found guilty and will be sentenced to life, incarcerated without any hope of parole at all. And I was listening to the family of his victim. And they really were so graceful in what they had to say about their son and their brother and their nephew. They didn't sound angry. They didn't sound hateful. They just talked about him and what had happened to him in a very pragmatic way. And it was just amazing, the grace. I remember hearing the mother of another victim talk this week. And again was absolutely struck with the grace with which she was able to discuss what had happened to her son. And as in the case this morning, she prayed, and that was the important part, I think, that she did pray, but she prayed that the rest of the world would learn to forgive as well. And I thought that was an incredible gift. And it really struck home to me how many people I still hold some level of resentment for. And that's really quite humbling to me. And the joke is, if you can see the irony of this, most of the people I feel some resentment for are people who feel that life owed them something. In other words, it went back to entitlement. So, you got to have a sense of humor when you can see that. The very thing of which I was guilty, and probably still am to some degree. And I find that, excuse me, obviously this is a difficult thing for my body to talk about. Excuse me. And so when I look at it, I think to myself, I will keep working on trying to achieve more grace. And more wisdom and more grace. And also to let that kid in me continue to enjoy moments of my life. And I think it was Sam who wrote to me about the story about the angel food cake and how much she chuckled, and she was so quick to tell me she didn't laugh at me, but she laughed at my determination to learn how to cook a cake in the halogen. And she really didn't need to apologize for any of it. You see, it brought me so much pleasure challenge to do it. And I had to really laugh when I heard back those words when I was cooking it, which was, this better work because I don't have a plan B. And then, of course, to realize when the moment happened that I was going to need a plan B, that I automatically had one in my mind. And to enjoy that moment. And you can expect to see many angel food desserts coming up in the next few months as I master the art of this. And then, of course, it goes back to the fact, why didn't I just cook it in a regular oven? Which is a question I believe, going back to Jerry, I believe that's a question that Jerry asked me. Why didn't I just cook it in a regular oven? Well, where's the fun in that? I mean, we know that works. So there is definitely something that I need to be aware of, if I haven't already been aware of it for many, many years, which is there's that little part of me that's a little devil. And there's a little part of me that finds taking a risk, I guess, enjoyable. Whereas most people, when they cook, go for perfection. I go for, I wonder if it'll work. Now, I think the greatest shock I had, for those of you who remember it, was the day that I decided to throw a couple of cups of blueberries in when I was cooking a pork tenderloin, a couple of them. I always remember thinking, I'm not a big blueberry fan, but I bet you that would taste good. And of course it did. And it didn't just taste good, it tasted phenomenally good, enough that I remember it to this day. And you know, I hadn't ever seen it in a recipe. I hadn't seen it anywhere else. I was just rummaging through the well-known overstocked freezer and going, what do I need to get rid of? And guess what? Blueberries were the answer. So there's that little devil in me, isn't there? I can handle that. Is there a little devil in you too? This is Dear Mama Sal saying, have a wonderful day. Have a look at the mirrors that come back at you, as in my case, the ones of entitlement. And then have a look at the achievements that you strive for, in my case, grace. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, bye-bye for now.